Hey guys, welcome back to the Friday Vlog, where we discuss activity that goes on here with the BuzWeaver channel. That includes things like current events, headlines that are in the news, pop culture, social media, technology, and items of interest that come up during the week that allow us to have a little bit of a dialogue. I want to welcome all of you guys from New Tech and, of course, all of you here on YouTube for your guys' continued support.
We start things off from 7 News Boston. Supreme Court says it hasn't found abortion opinion leaker. The Supreme Court said Thursday it has not determined who leaked a draft of the court's opinion overturning abortion rights, but that the investigation continues. 8 months after Politico published its explosive leak detailing the draft of Justice Samuel Alito's opinion that overturned Roe v. Wade, the court said its investigation team has to date been unable to identify a person responsible by a preponderance of the evidence. Never before had an entire opinion made its way to the public before the court was ready to announce it. That's absolutely true. For those of you who are unfamiliar with how the Supreme Court works, or that the Supreme Court is the highest court in the land here in the United States, this is a first. Chief Justice John Roberts ordered an investigation the next day into what he termed an egregious breach of trust. I would absolutely have to agree with that. Investigators conducted 126 formal interviews of 97 employees, all of whom denied disclosing the opinion. The court said, well, I can't imagine who would want to say that they did, considering the ramifications to themselves. Obviously, this would be a major breach of law, of course. It would probably be a federal offense, as well as the fact that anyone who is working in the court may be trying to pursue, obviously, work in law. This would definitely affect their entire career. The investigation concluded that it is unlikely that the court's information technology IT systems were improperly accessed by a person outside the court, following an examination of the court's computers, networks, printers, and available call and text logs. The risk of both deliberate and accidental disclosure of court-sensitive information grew with the C virus pandemic and shift to work from home, the report said. More people working from home, as well as gaps in the court's security policies, created an environment where it was too easy to remove sensitive information from the building and the court's IT network, the report said. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, many of you watching this here, and all of you who identify as you do, so ladies and gentlemen, and all those who are visiting and viewing the channel, welcome. What we do here on the BuzWeaver channel, ladies and gentlemen, is we take the difficult, we take the complicated, we take the tumult, because it does not take a super sleuth. It does not take a master detective. It does not take the highest investigative agency in our country to understand something very simple. 8 months ago, after Politico published an explosive leak, Politico published an explosive leak. Politico. Someone at Politico obtained information about this draft, about this opinion. Someone at Politico. So, now, again, I am not a super sleuth detective. I am not cutting edge, bleeding edge investigative agency in the United States. But if it were me, I would go to Politico. I would find out who wrote the article, and I would talk to them. I would have a conversation with this person. Now, granted, this individual could have been contacted, as we often like to identify with here on the channel, as the sources of information, or unnamed sources of information, or people familiar with the story. But nonetheless, they are people. Someone, somewhere, somehow, leaked information to Politico, and that's where I would start. If our FBI and our CIA, NSA, and all the top brass agencies can track down people anywhere in the world through the internet, through identifying individual people, which they can do, which they do every single day, with all kinds of means to track people down and find them. You mean to tell me that in the course of this investigation, they didn't go to Politico and talk to the journalist who wrote the story to find out, who did you get the email from? Someone sent them the information because they were able to write the article with all the detail in it. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is why we here on the BuzWeaver channel take these articles and look at them and examine them from a common sense, cogent, sober, oftentimes sober, perspective. So I ask you in just summation, you're welcome to respond down in the comments. Why is no one talking to Politico? Or maybe they have talked to Politico. Maybe they do know who it could potentially be, but I'm not anticipating that at any time it's going to be revealed. Now, I have all kinds of personal biased opinions. I will say biased because, of course, I am going to say, as you probably are going to figure out, that with all that was going on, with the nature of this topic, abortion, which is huge for Democrats. This is a huge, gigantic issue for Democrats. They used this in the 2020 election as well, and in the midterms. So, it is my opinion, biased opinion, that if it were someone on the left, they would do everything they can to hide the fact that it came from a particular justice who may lean left. Now, as you guys know, the Supreme Court is supposed to base all of its decisions on law, not their political feelings, not their political leanings, not the political parties that support them in these particular instances. But if this had been someone on the right, say someone from Alito's group, I believe that this would have been leaked out absolutely because the Democrats will utilize any means measure possible if they can weaponize the DOJ and go after Donald Trump or go after any of their political enemies at any level. You can't tell me that they would not be able to, with all of the power of our investigative agencies in our country, that they could not have gone to Politico, found out who wrote the article, and talked to that person to determine what actually happened. And see, I believe they can do it. I believe they have the power to do it. And I know that they can do it. I just don't think that they're going to do it. Because whether it is, on my biased opinion, someone on the left, or possibly, against my own biased judgment, could be someone on the right, I don't think that it's ever really going to come out because it's already a scandal to a degree that this even happened. The highest court in the land. Because, as we say, with presidents, we've never seen one sitting or former president ever indicted. Because it isn't about the person, it's about the office, right? We have to maintain the integrity of the office. It can't be corrupted or seen as being corrupt or tainted or in any way, form corrupted, because it's the highest office in our country as well as the Supreme Court. So, to cover all those bases and to ensure that there isn't any embarrassment of government, we probably will never know who actually leaked it. But if it were me and I was investigating it, the first place I would go was Politico, and I would find out who the particular journalist was, or reporter, or editor, or whomever at the company at Politico who was involved in this particular leak. I would definitely go directly to them, because we already saw what they did in the New York Post when it came to Hunter Biden's laptop. They knew exactly where to go. They knew exactly who to talk to. They knew exactly who to shut down. So if they can shut down the New York Post, why can't they go to Politico and start ruffling up some people there at Politico? That's all I'm saying. And that's what I have for you guys this Friday.
All right, guys, so that's going to wrap it up for this Friday vlog. Thank you for the likes, the shares, and the comments. Below this video, you can find the various social media links that I belong to, where you can see my daily post, as well as the Amazon link if you guys are Prime members or order frequently from Amazon. You guys can use that link, go to the landing page, and search for what you're looking for. And of course, it helps out the channel. Here in 2022, thank you for the likes, the shares, for those on New Tech, as well as here on YouTube, and appearing right there on the screen for all of you watching on YouTube. That would be the channel icon. You can click on that to subscribe, as well as to select notifications. That way you know when there's content here on the channel. And I'll see all you guys right there behind that camera next week.